My name is Hannah. I am 30 years old, and for the past 2 years I have shared a small apartment with my younger brother, Ethan. He is 27. After our parents passed away, first our mother, then our father a year later, Ethan and I held on to each other like two pieces of the same broken heart. We were always close, but after losing them, we became even closer. We cooked together, paid bills together, argued about silly things, and laughed at old memories. People often said, "You two take care of each other so well." And it was true. Ethan had always been open with me. He told me everything, his dreams, fears, and even the things he was embarrassed about. I trusted him completely, and I believed he trusted me the same way. But then, something changed. Ethan started leaving home earlier than usual. Some days before sunrise. Other days he returned late at night, long after his shift at the cafe ended. When I asked where he was going, he simply said, "Just working extra hours." Don't worry. I trusted him, but his eyes looked tired, and his smile looked forced. He had always been honest. But now he avoided my questions. He kept his phone close to him. And one evening, I heard him quietly crying in the bathroom. I didn't want to imagine the worst, but a small fear began to grow inside me. Ethan was hiding something. I just didn't know what it was yet. Over the next few weeks, Ethan's strange behavior only grew worse. He rushed out of the house without breakfast, often before I was even awake. When I texted him during the day, he responded hours later with short messages like, "Busy. Talk later." He used to leave his phone anywhere, on the kitchen table, on the sofa, even on top of the washing machine. Now, he kept it in his pocket at all times. When it buzzed, he would step away, lower his voice, and whisper into the phone. Every time he returned, his face looked a little paler. One evening, when I went to do laundry, I found something unusual in the pocket of his jacket, a small silver key attached to a plain black keychain. I had never seen it before. It wasn't a house key. It wasn't a locker key. It was too plain, too unfamiliar. "Ethan," I asked later, "do you have a new key for something?" He froze for the smallest moment before forcing a smile. "Oh, that. Just something for work." But Ethan didn't use keys for work. The cafe had digital locks. I knew that. He knew I knew that. Still, he quickly changed the subject and pretended nothing had happened. A quiet worry began to settle inside me. Was my brother in trouble? Was he keeping a secret because he thought I wouldn't understand? Or was he trying to protect me from something? Every night, I lay in bed with a single thought repeating in my mind. Where was Ethan going during those missing hours? And why did he need a key he refused to explain? One Saturday morning, Ethan left the apartment even earlier than usual. He moved quietly, thinking I was asleep, but I heard the door close. Something inside me tightened. I couldn't keep pretending everything was normal. I needed to know where he was going and why. I grabbed my coat, slipped outside, and followed him at a distance. He walked fast, almost like he didn't want anyone to see him. At the bus stop, he kept looking over his shoulder. When the bus arrived, he stepped on quickly. I waited a few seconds, then boarded as well, choosing a seat far behind him. The ride lasted about 20 minutes. Ethan got off in a part of town we never visited. A quiet area with old buildings, narrow streets, and paint peeling from the walls. He walked with purpose, his hands deep in his pockets. He stopped in front of an old, 4-story building. The windows were dusty, the front door worn. It didn't look like a workplace. It didn't look like anywhere Ethan should be. Then I saw it. He pulled out the silver key, the same one I found in his jacket. My heart began to race. He unlocked a side door and slipped inside quickly. The door closed behind him before I could even move. I called him immediately. The phone rang once, twice, 3 times. Then he declined the call. A cold tremor ran down my spine. Why would Ethan ignore me? Why would he come here? What was in that building? I stood outside, breathing in the cold morning air, staring at the door he had disappeared into. Something was happening to my brother. And I was getting closer to the truth. Whether I was ready or not. I stood outside the old building for a long time, trying to gather my courage. My brother had never hidden anything from me before. Whatever was waiting behind that door, it had already changed him, and it was beginning to change me too. Finally, I pushed the door open and stepped inside the dim hallway. The building smelled of dust and old paint. I climbed the narrow staircase, my footsteps echoing softly. Halfway up, I saw Ethan at the end of the corridor. He was locking a door, apartment 3B. Ethan, I called. He spun around, startled. His eyes widened when he saw me. Hannah, what are you doing here? I should be asking you that, I said quietly. Why are you in this building? What is this place? Why won't you talk to me? He stepped in front of the door protectively. Hannah, please, go home. I can explain later. No, I said. You've been disappearing for weeks. You're hiding something, Ethan. Let me in. He shook his head desperately. You don't understand. You'll get the wrong idea. Then show me, I whispered. Before he could stop me, I slipped past him and pushed the door open. The room inside was small, painfully small. A tiny bed with a soft pink blanket. A shelf filled with children's books. A table covered in crayons, drawings, and paper animals. Stuffed toys lined neatly against the wall, worn, but well loved. There was no TV. No adult furniture. No sign that Ethan lived there. But everything looked carefully arranged, as if someone visited often. A chill ran through me. Ethan, I whispered, my voice shaking, whose room is this? He stood in the doorway, tears suddenly filling his eyes. I told you, Hannah, he said softly. You won't understand. Unless you hear the whole story. Ethan walked slowly into the room and closed the door behind him. His shoulders were shaking. He looked around the tiny apartment as if seeing it through my eyes for the first time. As if realizing how strange and secretive it must have seemed. This isn't mine, he whispered. None of this is mine. I waited. I didn't speak. I didn't move. He took a deep breath. Hannah, do you remember last year when I volunteered at the youth center? I nodded. He used to tutor children there, help with homework, play games with them. He said it made him feel useful. There was a girl, he continued. Her name was Sophie. She was 7. She was special. Smart, funny, stronger than most adults I know. His voice broke. She had a serious illness, but she never showed fear. She just wanted a safe place. A place where she could forget hospitals. He walked toward the little bed and gently touched the blanket. This was her favorite color. Pink. She said it felt like happiness. I felt my heart tighten. She used to draw pictures of the room she wished she had, Ethan said. A small bed. A reading corner. Stuffed animals. Books. She wanted a place that was hers, just hers. He swallowed hard. When she passed away, I couldn't breathe. I promised her that if anything ever happened, I would keep her dream alive. He looked around the room with tear-filled eyes. So I rented this apartment. I recreated everything exactly how she imagined it. Every toy, every drawing, every book is here because I couldn't let her go. He turned to me, his voice breaking completely. Hannah, I wasn't hiding something bad. I was hiding my grief. I didn't want you to think I was strange, or broken, or stuck in the past. My heart ached as I stepped closer. Oh, Ethan, I whispered, you were never broken. You were hurting. For a long moment, I didn't say anything. I simply stepped forward and wrapped my arms around my brother. He leaned into me like someone who had been carrying a heavy weight for far too long. His body shook with silent sobs. I'm sorry, he whispered. I didn't want you to think I was weak, or stuck. I knew this wasn't normal. I knew that visiting this place every day, keeping it exactly how Sophie imagined, wasn't something most people would understand. I held him tighter. Ethan, this isn't weakness. This is love. And love doesn't disappear just because someone is gone. He wiped his face with the back of his hand. I kept thinking, if I let go of this apartment, I'd be letting go of her. And I wasn't ready. His words broke my heart. All those mornings he left early, all the nights he cried in the bathroom, all the secrets, it wasn't guilt or wrongdoing hiding behind his silence. It was grief. Pure, overwhelming grief. You didn't have to hide this from me, I said gently. You don't have to face this alone. Losing someone hurts, Ethan. Missing them doesn't make you strange. It makes you human. He nodded slowly, breathing shakily. What do I do now? He asked. We start with one step, I said. You talk about her. You get help if you need it. And when you're ready, you decide what you want this room to mean. For the first time in months, I saw a hint of peace settle in his eyes. Small, fragile, but real. Grief had kept him silent. But now, he wasn't silent anymore. Ethan didn't let go of the apartment right away. Healing never arrives all at once. It comes in small steps, one soft breath, one quiet decision at a time. For the first few days, we simply visited together. He showed me the books Sophie loved, the drawings she made, the toy bear she held during tutoring sessions. Every object carried a story. Every story carried a piece of Ethan's heart. One afternoon, he looked around the room and whispered, I think. I'm ready. Ready for what? I asked gently. To say goodbye. Not to her memory, he said, touching his chest, but to this place. She doesn't live here. She lives here, in the person she helped me become. So we began together. We folded the small pink blanket. We placed the stuffed animals into boxes. We gathered the children's books and crayons. Ethan chose a local shelter and donated everything in Sophie's name. When we handed over the boxes, he smiled sadly, softly, but truly. It was the first real smile I had seen on him in months. Back at the apartment, he locked the door one final time. He held the silver key in his hand for a long moment, then placed it gently in my palm. I don't need this anymore, he said. We walked away side by side, not speaking, but understanding each other more deeply than ever before. Some secrets are born from betrayal, but some come from pain, quiet, hidden, misunderstood pain. And healing begins the moment we stop hiding our hearts and allow someone to walk beside us in the darkness. Ethan did that. And for the first time, we were both ready to move forward. Would you confront a family member if you found they were hiding something? Share your thoughts below.